In today's video, we're going to be installing a brand new outdoor faucet from start to finish. Now you might remember a video I made last year where I put in one of these Aquors at my friend's house, but I got so many comments from people saying that his house was too easy because the walls were made of wood, his plumbing was PEX, and they said that you would never see this kind of a simple setup in real life. And in this video, you're going to see how to install one of these outdoor faucets, whether you have concrete or a brick house, and we're going to do it with traditional copper plumbing so that you can see a full install and hopefully you can learn some tips and tricks for yourself. First, you need to decide what type of outdoor faucet you want to install. The one I'm holding here is a regular frost-free model, and this might be the type that you have in your house already. But here I'm going to be going for an upgrade. This is another Aquor unit, and this one is perfect for installing into either stone, concrete, or any other type of solid surface. It also looks a lot better, and it's unique because you can actually get it in a number of different colors, which can look a lot nicer on your house. First, you need to figure out where exactly you want to drill your hole for your faucet. So grab your tape measure because it's important to mark that spot. And take that measurement from a corner of your house from the top and the side because you want to go inside to make sure that that hole isn't going to hit a pipe or something else. To drill a hole through brick or concrete easily requires a tool like this called a hammer drill. And the bit we're going to use to make the hole is a 1.5 inch diameter hole saw, but this one's different than the one you might use on wood. The end is diamond coated, which means it can go through granite, concrete, or brick. And using a tool like this is going to give you a super clean hole, which is going to make your installation go a lot easier. And if you use this bit alone, it would create a lot of heat, so you need some source of water to spray on the bit while you're drilling to help keep it cool. When I first started drilling the hole, I was hoping I could hang on to it a bit and catch the corner and then plunge the tool into the wall. Now that's a common trick that a lot of granite installers use when they're making a hole for, say, a soap dispenser or a faucet, but it didn't end up working out and the bit was starting to slip. So I rigged up this board with a hole that was about the same size as the tool, and this worked perfectly to hold the bit steady while it went into the concrete. Now once you get in there about an inch, you don't even need to use the guide at all. And as you're drilling, you want to make sure that you're squirting water onto the bit and right into the hole. And the bottle idea was working okay, but I realized it made a lot more sense just to grab a hose and turn the flow way down so that I could get a continuous flow of water while I was drilling. And this might look incredibly difficult, but keep in mind I'm working by myself while I'm recording this video, and I was still able to get the job done in just about 10 minutes. And you'll find that when you're using these diamond saws, the hole you're left with will be absolutely perfect. Now we can test fit our new outdoor spigot, and we need to mark those 3 holes because we need to drill those holes out so that we can put our mounting screws in place to hold the spigot securely in position. It's also a good idea to vacuum out any of those holes to get rid of any debris that could interfere with your screw anchors. Now they give you all these parts in the box, and you just press these into the hole, and now you can insert your faucet into position. It's also important to note that that cover doesn't go on the outside of the Aquor. You actually sandwich it between the wall and the fixture itself. And this is important because it tilts it just a little bit to make sure that no water stays inside the line. Then use the included stainless steel screws, put everything together, and you can tighten it all down. Now the Aquor itself is made of stainless steel, and they include that gray plastic cover when you buy it, and of course it works just fine, but if you want to upgrade it, they also offer 3 other stainless steel covers, and they included all 3 of them with my kit, so I wanted to install them so you could see exactly what they look like. The first is just brushed stainless steel, the second is a black or kind of an antique bronze, and then finally you've got this bright white cover, and this is probably one of the most popular ones they sell. Kind of looks like something that Apple would make if they sold a faucet. Now we've got all the work done outside, we've got to connect it up to our plumbing so we can actually get water. And since my house is 20 years old, it's got copper plumbing inside, that's what we're going to be working with. And a couple of ways to make that a little bit easier is to get a plumbing cutter like this. This one's called the Auto Cut, and the plumbing's going to be a lot easier because I won't be doing any soldering. I'm going to use shark bites for the entire job. If you don't like these and you want to solder, go right ahead, or if you've got access to one of those pro presses, you could certainly use one of those as well. Now we're inside the basement, you can see the opposite end of the Aquor faucet. The end is actually a 1/2 inch thread, so we need to adapt that to copper plumbing. And you also need to figure out where you're going to get access to the water line that you need to tap into to connect to your faucet. And this line's only a few feet away from me, but yours could be different, so you're going to need to plan that path out before you start working. I only need to deal with 1 threaded connection, and for that I'm going to use this thread sealant, and I'm going to use this special shark bite that's threaded on one side and can handle straight copper pipe on the other. Once you've put a good coating of thread sealant on the threads, you want to hand tighten it as much as possible, then use 2 wrenches. You're going to put one of them on the fixture itself and use the other one on the fitting. You only want the fitting itself to turn, you don't want to spin that fixture at all. And now we're ready for the magic of shark bites. You just need to insert the end of the copper tubing right into the fitting until it goes in all the way. Some people will make a measurement and mark the pipe, and that's not a bad idea, but either way you want to make sure it's completely inserted in the fitting. But one important step that many people skip is you also need to chamfer the end of the pipe, because after you cut a pipe it has kind of a ridge on the end, and using the simple tool gets rid of it and make sure that it won't scratch the shark bites O-ring before you put it in. Now I wanted to start working on the water pipe that I needed to cut into to feed my new faucet. So that's this pipe here, and I'm going to use my auto cut to split the line, and of course I've got the water supply turned off with that valve, but you might have to turn your main supply off in your house if you don't have one. And to tap into the water line, I'm going to use this simple shark bite T-fitting, but you usually can't just put these in because the fitting itself will take up some space. Unfortunately, the fitting has some marks on it, so you can line it up against your pipe, mark it, make a cut, and you remove a small section of the copper pipe, and now that fitting will fit perfectly between the two sections. Now we just need to work on the pipe connections between the two fittings to put it all together. Now here I was using a tape measure, but oftentimes I measure wrong or it just doesn't work out, so I tend to cut the pipe a little bit longer, and then I cut it to fit as I go. Now you can do it different ways, and here you can see that I could have put this thing at an angle, but that's really weird looking for copper pipe because most of it is placed against the ceiling. So I opted to go the more traditional route and put a straight piece up and kept it all using 90-degree angles. In my experience, shark bites have worked great and they make a job like this a lot easier, but you do have to be concerned with one thing. They can be rotated once they're in position. Now that actually can be a good thing because sometimes you need to adjust them, but here you can see that pipe is hanging in midair, so it could pull down or somebody could accidentally hit it, and that's easy to solve by using one of these pipe hangers. Now there are plastic and copper ones, but here I'm going to use one of these plastic ones because it's quick and easy to install, and once I nail a couple of nails into this stud, now that pipe is fully supported and I don't have to worry about it pulling down later. You also might want to fill up that hole with some expanding foam. This will just make sure that no bugs or any kind of water can get in, and this stuff is really easy to work with. And if you don't like the way it looks when it comes out of the hole, you can just wait till the next day and just use a plastic knife to cut off any excess. With everything connected back up, I turn the water on and we're ready to try out our new faucet. And keep in mind the water is completely on, but of course nothing is coming out because you need to use one of these adapters that they include with the hydrant. You just insert it into position and now that water is ready to come out. Now you can turn it on by turning that blue valve, or it'll automatically shut off if you were to remove the entire adapter. And in my first video I got so many comments about this. When you remove the adapter, it looks like this thing is leaking water everywhere. What it's actually doing is allowing the water inside the pipe to drain out. That's what makes this one completely frost-free. You don't ever need to do anything to it because it's automatically self-draining whenever you remove the adapter. This may not matter in the summer, but come the wintertime, this can make all the difference of not having a pipe burst in your wall. People also ask me about backflow preventers and how does this thing meet code? Well, the backflow preventer is actually inside that adapter. I also got a lot of questions about the adapter and what would you do if you lost it? Well, fortunately they're not expensive, so it's easy to order a spare, but you're generally going to keep it attached to your hose. But the real genius of this thing is if you have more than one hose or say a pressure washer, you can connect it to the end and leave it, but when you don't want it, you can just remove it, and now there's nothing showing on the outside. Now this might not be important to you, and if it isn't, you don't need to get something like this, but for many people, if the faucet is on the outside of your house or it's very visible, this can be a really worthwhile upgrade. And the other benefit is nobody can mess with your water easily when you're not around. Now this might matter if you're in the city and people might try to steal your water, or more than likely if you have kids like me, they like to turn the water in and just walk away. Now this is not going to be a plumbing job that everyone wants to tackle, but I made the video so you can understand what's involved, whether or not you do it yourself or if you pay somebody else to get it done. Either way, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already for more videos coming up.